Miss Riley was as good as her word. By Friday, she'd gotten all the necessary forms signed to start the first ever manga club at Hannah Dustin High School. I'd finished the flyers and, as soon as I got the go-ahead from her, started posting them around the school. They had come out looking really cool, though at the last minute I decided against using my own artwork. Didn't want to offer up free ammunition for the haters to use to make fun of me with. Instead, I found some cool clip art from the Sojo Beat website and decorated using that instead. We scheduled the first meeting for Wednesday, to be held in the school library. Up until the last minute, I still wasn't convinced anyone would show up. Even if Sarah was right about there being other manga fans at school, that didn't mean they'd necessarily jump at the idea of joining a club to talk about it, especially a club run by Freak Girl. Still, it was probably worth a try, because if it did work, if people did come, it'd be great. I'd finally meet kids in the stupid school that cared about something besides the latest sale at the mall. We'd all become friends and start hanging out. People would actually say hi in the halls, and I'd have friends to eat with at lunch. This really was a great idea. I'm so glad I suggested it to Miss Riley.
What you doing, freak girl?
Oh great, Billy. Just the person to put a damper on my day. I finished pressing the flyer against the wall, making sure it was properly stuck before turning around to deal with my dearest BFF. He stood behind me, arms crossed, wearing a Bruins jersey and a big scowl on his face, glaring at me expectantly. At least he was without his little posse for once. I considered walking away, but something inside of me stirred, stopping me in my tracks. Some sort of weird sense of self-respect, long buried. I remembered Miss Riley's words. You gotta get to the point where it really doesn't bother you. You gotta stop giving them your power. I'd made a vow. I was following Miss Riley's advice from now on, and I wasn't going to let him bother me anymore. What's it look like, Brainiac? I shot back, even surprising myself with the force of my jab. I'll give you 3 guesses. No, wait, don't strain yourself. Wouldn't want to hurt your head? I waved a flyer in his face, channeling my inner mean girl. See these? I'm hanging them on a wall. I spoke the last part slowly, as if addressing a dim-witted child, which wasn't far off the mark, now that I thought about it. With tape, I added, waving the dispenser. You know, sticky, sticky. A thrill tickled my stomach as Billy took a step back, a confused look on his formerly arrogant face. He certainly had expected that reaction from me. Woot! Score 1 for Maddie.
Yeah, got that.
Billy retorted. He ripped down the flyer I had just put up and studied it with narrowed eyes.
But what the hell is Manja Club?
He asked, pronouncing it manja.
Does that mean vampire in Swahili or something?
Funny, no, it doesn't. But I wouldn't expect your pea-brain to know any Japanese, so don't feel too bad. I was impressing myself with my witty comeback. Who knew I had it in me?
Oh, you're so smart, freak girl. I wish I could be a nerd like you and start a manja club at school.
It's manga, I corrected. Hard G.
Oh yeah, hard, huh? That's just how you like it, don't you? You like it hard, freak girl. Hard and dirty.
Billy taunted, dancing around and making obscene gestures. He looked so pleased at his delicious wit that for a moment I was almost certain he'd figure out a way to give himself a high five. I rolled my eyes and moved down the hall, looking for the next place to hang a flyer. This was a guy who practically the whole school worshipped. Suddenly he seemed like nothing more than a pathetical twerp. He followed me, standing way too close for comfort as I affixed tape to the paper, obviously trying to unnerve me. Don't let him bother you, I reminded myself. Don't let him win.
You still haven't told me what manga is.
He reminded me, leaning against the locker. Learn to Google, I replied. Wikipedia is your friend. Billy looked down at the flyer.
Oh, it's lame-o comic books, isn't it?
Brilliant deduction. I clapped my hands for him. Though manga is a Japanese art form, so it's not like we're covering Superman or anything. I didn't know why I was bothering to explain, really.
Wow, freak girl, that sounds way cool.
Billy crumpled up the flyer and tossed it, quarterback style, down the hall. I kept my face blank, forcing myself to stay calm. I pulled out another flyer from my bag and hung it up a few feet away. Good thing I'd made plenty of copies. Billy followed me, still scowling. Probably pissed he hadn't been able to make me cry yet. Hope he wasn't holding his breath waiting, because it was so not going to happen.
So who do you expect to join your little geeky comic book club?
He demanded.
Last I checked, we don't have many Japanese students here at Hannah Dustin.
I almost burst out laughing. He couldn't be that stupid, could he? Do you live under a total rock? I asked incredulously. Have you ever been to a bookstore? A library? Manga's huge. Tons of American kids read it. Billy's face darkened. Evidently I'd struck a nerve.
I don't waste my time in bookstores.
He retorted.
Libraries are for chumps.
Right. I gave him my sweetest smile. It's okay, Billy. Really.
Shut up, freak girl.
I know you're only trying to hurt me because you feel very angry inside. Billy stared at me like I had 3 heads and a carrot for a nose.
What?
He cried, his face red with rage.
What the hell are you talking about?
Wow, he was just as easy to get a rise out of as the people he abused each day. I chuckled at the irony.
Why are you laughing? Huh, freak girl?
He demanded, totally losing his cool at this point.
You're stupid. You're a freak. No one likes you. They all think you're a loser.
I shot him an unconcerned smile and walked further down the hall. He didn't follow me this time. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him rip down my flyer, throw it to the ground, and stomp on it with his foot. Wow, remarked a pretty blonde underclassman who stood nearby, watching his temper tantrum. Looks like Billy has some anger issues to work out. I laughed. Totally, I said, my insides warming. He can be such a freak boy.